Alright, here we go, tier list time. Obviously Broly just came out, so I decided to make an Ultra slash LF tier list. We have Z tier, S plus S, and A and B tiers. So B tier is obviously not really usable, it's like trash, right? Those units are just not good anymore. A tier is like, okay, you can probably run these units here and there, have some success here and there, but wouldn't say they are like amazing. S tier, I would probably run S tier units, and they are pretty good, but I wouldn't say they are like meta, right? S plus, obviously these units are very good, and Z tier. Top tier, we don't have Z plus. I don't feel like Z plus is necessary. I don't think there is a unit currently that's like a whole tier above the others, or like 2 or 3 units. I don't think we need a Z plus, because I think in Z we have a few units. So I don't think it's necessary to make a Z plus tier. So let's start off with Cell. Honestly, I want to just get rid of the B tier units first. So obviously first unit is Ultra Vegeta, definitely B tier. I don't think there is an argument. Gotan, at this point, maybe you can argue he's A tier, but I honestly, I don't know. He's better than Vegeta though, but I'm not the biggest fan of Gotan overall. And at this point, it's like, what is his team like? PPR hybrids, like that team is dead. Like at this point, Gotan is kinda useless. I would say maybe A tier, low A tier, but yeah. Beerus, I think Beerus is probably the worst LF slash Ultra unit in the game right now. At this point, it's like he's just dead, right? I think Beerus is probably the worst. LF slash Ultra, who else we got here? I think UI Sign Goku. He's the best in this tier, but maybe low A tier. But yeah, like UI Sign is at this point, it's very hard to argue that you can actually run him and have some success with him. Rose B tier as well. Once again, you can probably argue that like low A tier, but I'm just not a big fan of this Rose. At this point, I think he's kind of just dead. He has some very good abilities though, like the blue card, AoE blue card, and it's type neutral. The Indorus nullification, like he has some very good abilities. It's just he doesn't have any kind of damage anymore. Like he has like 90% damage inflicted when the battle starts. Okay, so for now, I think this is B tier. I don't really think anyone else is B tier. A tier. I think at this point, I think Red Gun is probably A tier. Maybe low S, but right now, especially, he doesn't really have a team. Hybrid is strike based. Like this guy is just kind of dead. Some family, obviously, we have MUI. Like, unfortunately, he's just dead, kinda. Even if you individually want to argue that he's like still S, I think just because he doesn't have an actual team, I just can't really put him higher than that. Like he can still work very well, and you can build a team around him, and he can do some very good damage, and he can still probably 1v3 if everything goes right. But yeah, right now I just don't really want to put him higher than that. Great Ape, I think Great Ape is actually better than Red Gohan right now. But yeah, Great Ape, I think this is fine for him. He's usable, he can work, he can do some stuff, but I don't think he's higher than A tier. Ultra Goku is actually... I'm not gonna say he's better than Great Ape. But you know what? I think right now he's better than FSK, honestly. I've made a video about this guy a few days ago, and I was pretty impressed. He actually has a very good team. Like, if you want to run him for some reason, you want to have some fun, and you want to run him on Saiyans, like, this guy can work pretty well. His damage is actually pretty nice. He has a good team. Ultra Vegito, LFSJ3, you can run MUI, or you can run Ultra Gojito if you want to. Majin Vegeta, like, this guy has a very strong team. Or some family, you can run him on some family. And he actually does pretty decent damage still. So honestly I was pretty impressed. Although I knew his damage output wasn't that bad. And yeah, his damage output is not that bad. And he has a very strong team, so I would say he's actually not that bad. Great Tip is probably better though, because endurance, honestly, that's probably it. But yeah, he Great Tip also has a very good green card, blue card combo, so yeah. Evolution Blue Vegeta, I think Evolution Blue Vegeta is fine in A tier and probably is the worst. In this tier so far, I think I would probably put FSK above Evolution Blue Vegeta. Evolution Blue Vegeta is just extremely situational. I don't think I want to put him higher than this. Piccolo, I think Piccolo is easily better than these units. Although I haven't used Piccolo in a long time, I feel like Piccolo is still very good and very decent unit. It's just he just doesn't have a team. Like he has no teams. He could be higher for sure though, but right now in this meta I don't think he's higher than this. But yeah, individually I do believe that he can be higher, or he could be higher, and in the future he could be higher if like blast based regen gets a big buff and it actually becomes a team. This guy could see some plays. Gogeta Blue. Gogeta Blue I think is better than Evolution Blue Vegeta, which is kind of crazy. When Evolution Blue Vegeta first came out, I thought he was easily better than Gogeta Blue, but Gogeta Blue just aged better, in my opinion. I don't know if I want to put him higher than this though. Like, I mean, you can run him on movies, of course, and there's the argument that he actually has a very good team. So I'm gonna put him higher than FSK. Higher than him. Is he better than Great Ape though? I mean, Great Ape has the endurance. He has the green, the blue card. I don't know, I feel like Great Ape is probably better than Gogeta Blue. Honestly, it doesn't really matter, but yeah, I think this is fine. And we have LF Super Saiyan 3. I think he's better than Evo. I think he's better than... Is he? I'm not sure. And Blast-based Saiyans is just not really a team anymore, so... Yeah, LF Super Saiyan 3, the OG LF Super Saiyan 3 is definitely not higher than A tier. Maybe you can move him a little bit higher, a few spots, but yeah, he's A tier. Okay, so S tier, S plus and Z, this is where the fun begins. These units are actually good, they can actually do some work. They have teams. So yeah, let's start off with Cell. I think Cell is still S plus, although Broly is obviously a big competition, and I would argue that Broly replaced him on PO. But yeah, Cell is still very good, I would say, for sure. Yeah, I don't really think I have to talk about him too much. At this point, I think everyone knows what Cell does. He's a little bit slow though. He can do well without the gauge, but I would say the gauge is definitely a big thing about him, and he's a little bit slow. He can be a little bit slow and a little bit situational, but he's still very strong for sure. Next up is Vegito Blue. I think Vegito Blue, I don't know, I've seen some people talking not so highly about this unit recently for some reason. I don't really get why. I guess because obviously Cooler came out and Vegito's best team was pretty much like blue yellow fusions, and obviously that's not really the best team anymore because Cooler is out, and Vegito obviously, yes, he's blue, but Cooler goes type neutral. So I don't know. Some people don't really like this guy anymore too much, and I'm gonna put him below Cell for sure. On my top 10 list, Vegito was above Cell, but right now I would say I kinda changed my mind, but yeah, I think he's still S+, and I still think he's very strong, and he can do some very good plays. He has future, he has God Key, so you don't even have to run him on fusions, because on fusions, unfortunately, there are gonna be Super Saiyans on the team. But future, God Key, although God Key is not the best team, but future is still very strong, and you can run him on future, and he's gonna do fine in my opinion. Don't really have a problem with him. I'm gonna move him a little bit lower than he was on my top 10 list, but I still think he's really good. My only problem with him is honestly the fact that he kinda needs to face melee type units. Like, that's his thing, but I mean, there are a lot of melee type units in the meta, so that's not really a big problem though. His ultimate hits extremely hard. He has blast armor, the lock-in blue card. Like, I think he's still really good. I don't know. I don't really understand this like hate this guy gets recently. I think he's still S plus. I think he's still very strong. If I would do another top 10, I probably wouldn't put him in the top 10 right now. But other than that, I think he's very strong still. Jiren, I think Jiren is S plus or S. I don't know. Jiren is very good, honestly. I think Jiren is probably S plus. With the plat, I think he's actually a very strong unit. I think, yeah, I think S plus is fine for him. Full power Frieza S. Yeah, I think he's S. I don't think he's S plus for sure. Bardock is S. I honestly like Bardock more than full power Frieza. This might be a hot take, but with his plat, I think Bardock is actually better than full power Frieza. I don't know. Unfortunately, my Bardock is only 7 stars. But yeah, like, I was using Team Bardock, and yes, on that team he gets a lot of support, but I was impressed by Bardock. His damage can get very high. He's a little bit slow, yes, he needs build up, but yeah. And he gets endurance when someone dies, so he can be pretty good defensively. He's also type neutral defensively. I like Bardock. I think he's very good. Post plat. Although he doesn't really have like a very good team because Saiyans is strike based. Obviously, this is a blast based unit. Although not really, because his blast and strike attack is pretty much equal. But he has a blast Z ability. So yeah. But yeah, you can put him on a strike based team for sure, and he can work. But yeah, I think Bardock is good. I think Bardock is good. After the plat. Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, I think he's S. I think he's better than Frieza. I don't know, I think he's better than Bardock. For now. I can see Bardock being better, and I can see him aging better than Gojito, but for now, I think Gogeta is better than Bardock. Fusions is still one of the best teams in the game. He still has a ton of utility, even if the damage is not necessarily there. He's situational, but I mean, Revival Gohan is pretty popular nowadays. So he has the Revival unit. If there is a Revival Frieza, of course, this guy is gonna work very well. He has the cover change, blast armor, the green card is very good. The ultimate is obviously very strong. His main ability overall is extremely good still, so I don't know. I think this guy is kinda underrated. I think he's getting way too much hate. And yeah, I'm gonna put him here. This might be a hot take. I think he's fine in S, and I think he's probably the best unit in this tier so far. You can argue, you can say whatever you want. Honestly, I think he's just underrated at this point. Future Gohan, I think Future Gohan is S, but I could see the argument honestly that he's A. I can honestly see the argument, because it's like, he's a Super Saiyan, Cooler just came out. The androids, obviously, they just completely counter him. Super Vegito is pretty much the same unit. Yellow Super Saiyan with the endurance is just, Gohan is way worse. Like, why would you run Gohan when you have Ultra Super Vegito? Honestly, I'm gonna put him in A tier. At this point, although I think he can still work very well in some situations, it's like, I don't know, because he has a ton of utility. He has the cover change, he has the endurance, he has the support. He can lock special moves, I think. He can also lock strikes. So he has a ton of utility. It's just overall in this meta, when you have Cooler running around, the androids running around, I think it's, for now, I think A tier. I don't know. I can see the argument that he's like low S tier, but I think A tier is fine for him. in this current meta. Majin Vegeta, I think Majin Vegeta is actually the best in S Plus right now. He was actually on my top 10 list, and I do think that he's a top 10 unit. And yes, VB was above him, but right now I think Vegeta is actually better. Yeah, Majin Vegeta is very, very strong. I think he was a little bit underrated when he first got his Zankai, but yeah, I do like this unit a lot. I think he's very, very good. Okay, so I have Super Saiyan 3. I'm gonna put him in Z tier for now. I can see the argument that he's only S+, but I think this guy is just extremely underrated. I don't get it. Like, yes, he's not really that tanky, but I mean, most units are not tanky. LF Cooler is not tanky at all. Like, I don't like that argument. Like, yeah, he's not tanky. And what? His damage output is great. He can build up. He has the unit gauge, which is definitely situational. Like, it is slow, but he has the cover nullification. Pretty much you need two full combos, and then he gets his unit gauge. And at that point, he pretty much has the best main ability in the game. He's one of the best 1v1 units in the game because of his unit gauge and because of his main ability. It's broken. Like, you remove your opponent's vanish, you get your own back. Ultimate is type neutral. Like, it's kind of broken. He gets double card draw speed on main. Obviously, he has card draw speed all the time. Like, offensively, this guy is ridiculous. He can lock in with his blue card when the unit gauge is full. So yeah, like, I don't know. I think this guy is kind of crazy. Like, once again, the unit gauge, yes, it takes time. But like, it's not the hardest thing. Like, if you want to get the gauge filled up, it's not like the hardest thing in the world. Like, once again, he has cover nullification, so you don't even have to worry about cover changes. He has card draw speed. The green card gives him a strike, so he can get the unit gauge. It's not the hardest thing in the world. It is a little bit slow, and it is situational. Sometimes you won't get it, but when you get it, this guy goes crazy, for sure. And once again, one of the best 1v1 units in the game, if not straight up the best 1v1 unit, because of his main ability. And obviously, when he's a last man standing, even if you don't have the gauge filled up at all, you use one card, you use a blast, and he gets the gauge. So, there you go. I think it's Z tier. Maybe S+. Maybe S+. We'll see. But I think Z tier is actually fine for him. I think he's getting way too much hate. I think he's way too underrated. The argument that he's squishy, I don't think that's a good argument. I don't. There are a lot of other units, top 10 units, that are not tanky at all. Cooler, once again. Best example, Cooler is not tanky at all. So, I think Super Saiyan 3 is still Z tier. Maybe S+. We'll see. Maybe I'm gonna move him down to S+, but for now he's Z. Kid Buu, S tier, top of S tier. He could be higher, honestly, if he had a better team, but right now I think it's S. He just doesn't have a team. And even if you run blast-based powerful opponent, why would you run Kid Buu when you have Revival Frieza? So yeah, I think S tier is fine for Kid Buu. Revival Gohan, S+. And I think Revival Gohan is top of S+. Revival Gohan is just crazy good. Honestly, he's just aging crazy well. And I think the fact that there is an argument that he's better than Ultra Broly, especially if your Revival Gohan has higher stars, because yeah, 14 versus 14, sure. But unless you have like a Red 1, Red 3 Broly, I think there is a very strong argument that Revival Gohan is better. Of course, I'm talking about 14 stars. At least on movies, obviously. And like overall, he just makes the movies team better. So yeah, Revival Gohan is S+. Honestly, I could see him low Z. Revival Gohan is crazy good, in my opinion, right now. Movies is obviously the best team in the game, and this guy, once again, I think there is an argument that he's actually just better than Broly. On movies, I'm not saying that Revival Gohan individually is a better unit than Broly. I'm not saying that. On movies, though, I think there is an argument that the movies team as a whole is better with Revival Gohan than with Broly. That's what I'm saying. I have Super Saiyan 4. He's S tier. Is he? But I think he's better than Kid Buu. I think he's better than Kid Buu, and he has a better team. Sun Family is still very, very good in my opinion. Super Saiyan 4, LF Super Saiyan 3, Revival Gohan, MUI. That's still a good team. So I think he's above Kid Buu. Yeah, I think this guy is great. If GT was better, yeah. GT is getting actually a buff. Free to play Super 17. I don't know about that, but hopefully GT is getting some big buffs in the near future, because that team just needs something. It's kind of crazy that they haven't touched the team since Gojito got his plat and since Omega came out, Ultra Omega. It's ridiculous. LF Zankai Vegeta, I think he's S tier. This might be controversial. This might be a hot take because I know a lot of people love this Vegeta. And yeah, I like him, but I don't think... I sometimes I think he's a little bit overrated. That's just me though. But he's top of S. Maybe low S+. I think Jiren is probably better than him. I'm not the biggest fan of this Vegeta. I think he's lacking a lot of stuff. He doesn't have blast armor on strikes, on ultimate. He just straight up doesn't have blast armor, or he just doesn't have blast armor on anything. He needs a ton of build up. He starts off with like 30% damage inflicted or something like that. He only gets strike damage on main. You can only run him on God Key or Vegeta Clan. You can't even really run him on Future because he loses his support, and his plat is specifically God Key or Vegeta Clan. So if you run him on Future, you can't even run his plat. I'm just not the biggest fan. I think he needs too much build up. He's not bad. Like, I'm not saying he's bad, but I do think he's a little bit overrated sometimes, and I do think that he's missing a little bit too much. And like, yeah, he's pretty tanky, and that was like one of his biggest strengths a few months back. But like at this point, the power creep we had, like at this point, he's not that tanky. He can do some good damage, but you need build up. You need a ton of build up. I don't know. I just don't think he's as good as some people think he is. But he's still good. He's still good. He's still decent. He can still do fine. The ultimate can still obviously lock you in. If you have some build up, it can still do a ton of damage. So yeah, he can still be pretty decent. But overall, I think he's S tier. Maybe a S plus, but low S plus. I can see the argument. Androids, I think the androids are higher than LF Super Saiyan 3. I think I actually put Super Saiyan 3 above the androids on my top 10. I'm not sure. But yeah, I think the androids are higher than Super Saiyan 3 right now. Obviously, Broly just came out. And yeah, overall, I think, honestly, if I put Super Saiyan 3 above the androids on my top 10 list, I think, honestly, I was wrong. I think I was wrong. I definitely changed my mind on that. I think the androids are higher. I don't think I have to go in why this unit is still absolutely crazy. Yeah, and Broly just came out, which is a big buff to PO. PO is kind of crazy. Android's cooler, Broly, or Cell if you want to run Cell, or you don't have Broly. PO is ridiculous. Zamasu, S tier. I think Bardock is better than Zamasu, but I also think Frieza is better than Zamasu. Because it's like, if you run LOE, I still run this unit. Zamasu, I just don't run him anywhere. So yeah, I do think he's S tier, but I don't think he's better than these units. At least Frieza, you can still run him. He still has a ton of utility. Blast Armor, Dragon Ball Destruction, he gets his Vanish back on main. Zamasu does a lot of damage. To Saiyans, especially. That's pretty much it. So, I don't know. But he's still S. But I think these units are better than him. MUI, Z tier. He's definitely above Super Saiyan 3. I think the androids are higher than MUI right now. PO is just way too good. So yeah. Other than that, individually, I would honestly say that MUI, I like him more. But PO, I just can't really argue. Obviously, Saiyans is still very, very strong, but I mean, Cooler just came out, and obviously Ultra Super Vegito got a big counter, so I would say PO is better than Saiyans right now. So yeah, I would put the androids above MUI. Ultra Kaioken, Ultra Kaioken, I'm gonna put him in S, but I don't know, dude. I just feel like this guy is just so good individually. His kit is so great, and he's just not getting a team. He doesn't have like a very good top tier team. USS, it's okay. Gatki, it's okay, but he doesn't have like a very good team, and he haven't gotten a very good team since honestly since Green Yellow Gatki. I don't know, like yes, USS got a buff, Jiren got his plat. Gatki, I mean Zankai Vegito Blue, that was probably the last buff, right? MUI Goku and Zankai Vegito Blue. And yes, that was a big buff, but other teams got way more than that. So I don't know, like I feel like individually this guy could be way higher. It's just his teams are holding him back. That's what I think. That's my honest opinion on this guy. I think individually he's still absolutely fantastic. Like read his kit and tell me that this guy is not great. So yeah, I'm gonna put him in S and top of S. Maybe low S plus, honestly. Honestly, I want to put him in low S plus. This might be a hot take, but I don't care, dude. I do believe that this guy individually is absolutely fantastic. And the only reason why he's not way higher is his teams. Uta Gogeta, I think he's higher than these units. Yeah, still Z tier. Still top tier. Still crazy. Yeah, I think everyone knows what Gojito does at this point. He's aging absolutely insanely well. It's kind of crazy how well he's aging. Goku and Vegeta, S tier probably. Above full power Frieza, probably. Maybe above Bardock. Yeah, I think that's fine. It's a fine place for him. I mean, the tag mechanic is still pretty good. You can run them on Saiyans, you can run them on Sun Family, so they have some good options. I think this unit is not as bad as some people think they are. I think they are pretty fine. I think they are still pretty decent. They are still pretty solid. They have good teams. I don't know. This might be a hot take, but yeah, that's my opinion. I think they are a little bit underrated. Below Bardock, I think Bardock is probably better. It's just I need more play with Bardock, and Bardock needs like a better team, I guess. Yeah, maybe below Bardock, but I think this is fine. Goku and Vegeta, I think they are still a solid unit. First form Frieza, Zankai, S tier. Honestly, I'm gonna put him. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna straight up put him in top of S. This guy is great. He's aging very well. His support is great. He's actually pretty tanky. He has a cover change, strike cover change, main ability. He nullifies cover changes. His ultimate actually hits pretty hard. He holds a blue. His green is amazing. This guy is actually pretty decent still, and he's aging very well. Yeah, I think Zankai first one Frieza is great. I think this is fine. Top of S. Broly. I think Broly is a good unit actually. I think he's a little bit underrated. People obviously don't run him too much because it's like, where do you run him? Maybe on PO if you want to build like a full color wheel PO team. Obviously movies. I mean, he has a big competition, so it's unfortunate for him. But I think he's a good unit. I think he's underrated. I'm gonna put him below Vegeta, below Super Saiyan 4. I'm gonna put him above Kid Buu, although Kid Buu is arguably better individually. Broly has movies. Even if you, yes, Ultra Gogeta is a thing, but if you want to run Broly, you can run Broly. Movies is insane. Piu is also great, so he has his teams. Kid Buu doesn't have teams, pretty much. You can't really run this unit, unfortunately. Like, he has Blast-based Piu, but that's it. And even there, he has a big competition, Revival Frieza. So, yeah, I think Broly is above Kid Buu, maybe above LF Super Saiyan 4. But LF Super Saiyan 4 also has some family, which is great. And yes, Cooler just came out, but Ultra Broly also just came out. And he counters Ultra Broly, obviously, because he's yellow. Makes sense. I think I'm gonna do this, I think. But I can see this. I think Super Saiyan 4 is above Broly. I like Super Saiyan 4 more. I like overall, like, I'm not saying about the form, like, yes, I'm a Super Saiyan 4 fanboy, but I'm talking about the units. I think Super Saiyan 4 is a better unit individually. Super Vegito, I still like this unit a lot. Obviously, Cooler just came out, which is a big deal, but I still think this guy is amazing. Above Goku and Vegeta, above Bardock, above Super Saiyan 4 Gojito. At this point, I think Vegito is probably better. I don't know, I love this unit, and I think he's great. He's not getting enough love, in my opinion. I think I'm gonna put him above Kid Buu. Fusions is still great. His ability is ridiculous. So yeah. Broly, I'm gonna put him above Broly. I'm sorry. I think he's better than Broly. I can see the argument for Broly, but yeah. I think Super Vegito is better. Super Saiyan 4, I think Super Saiyan 4 is better than Super Vegito. I can see Broly. I can honestly see this, but I think this is fine. And yes, Super Vegito, yes, Cooler just came out, but this guy is purple, so it's not the biggest deal. His support, I like his support a lot. His damage can get pretty good. He's a little bit slow, obviously, but I mean, you can say the same thing about this unit. He starts off with like 30% damage inflicted. This guy starts off with like 90. So I think he starts off with 70, but if you're lucky, obviously he pulls a card on entry. If it's a strike, he gets 20% strike damage inflicted immediately. So you're up to 90% strike damage inflicted on entry. This guy is up to like 30%, that's it. So if you want to argue that yes, he's too slow, I mean, this guy is too slow as well. So there you go. And I still put this guy above Super Vegito. Although, honestly, I like Super Vegito more than this unit at this point. Like, yeah, for the time, I think Vegeta was better. But at this point, I think Super Vegito is better. And I think he's aging better than Vegeta. I don't know. Honestly, I want to do this. I honestly want to do this. Because once again, I like Super Saiyan 4 more than Vegito. But I like Vegito more than Vegeta, so I think this makes sense. This might be a hot take, and people might disagree with this. I can see it. Like, I'm not saying you're wrong. Even if, like I was saying, like S+, I can see Vegeta in S+. But, like, I can see some arguments for it. But in my opinion, he's not S+, and he's below these units. So, yeah, I think I'm gonna go with this. Sword of Hope, he's S tier still. I think he's above Broly. Obviously, Cooler just came out. And that hurts him because he's a Super Saiyan, obviously. But I think Sword of Hope is still decent. Like, I don't think he's like trash or anything like that. And I think he's better than Broly, probably, individually. I think this is fine for Sword of Hope. Yes, he's a Super Saiyan. Yes, Cooler just came out. But I mean, I think he can still do his job pretty well. I don't know, I think this is fine. You can probably put Broly above him, although Broly is also Super Saiyan, so it's like, okay, sure. Maybe below Kid Buu. But I think this is fine. Above Broly. I think this is fine. For the Sword of Hope. Ultra Omega, I think he's above Zamasu. I think he's above... I want to say... Okay, so in my opinion, Omega is better than Full Power Frieza, but GT is dead, so yeah. But I think he's better than Zamasu. Zamasu is S tier, but honestly I can see him in A. I'm not the biggest fan of this Zamasu at this point. Once again, he's replaced on every single one of his teams. There is no reason to run this unit. He does good damage, sure. But even his damage is way better against Saiyans. And Saiyans, yes, obviously Saiyans are still popular and there are a lot of Saiyans in the meta, but we have Cooler, we have the androids. It's not Saiyans all the time. And that's pretty much it. Like, yes, he can do some good damage. His green card is pretty good, obviously. It locks in, he goes type neutral, so that's also something. And he can heal a lot, but he's also very squishy. He can nullify endurance though. I think S is fine, low S, but yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of this Zamasu at this point. He needs a plat. He needs a plat for sure. But yes, low S, I think it's fine, honestly. But Omega is above Zamasu. Ultra Super Vegito. First Namagoku. I don't know why Namagoku is here. So Namagoku, I think Namagoku is S. I like him more than Zamasu. For sure. I think Namagoku is still amazing. I think Namagoku is underrated as hell. He always was. Since he got his Zankai, I think he always was underrated. In my opinion. If you use this guy correctly, I think this guy is still amazing. Like, yes, he's not top tier, he's not broken or anything like that, but I love this guy. And honestly, every time I run him, it's not like, oh my god, I have to run Zankai Namagoku and oh my god, he's so bad. And no, he's good. Like, he's actually fun, he's actually good, he's actually decent. If you use him correctly, he's good, in my opinion. It's just, he has a very high skill cap, and especially now, he's not broken or anything like that. His kit is obviously a little bit outdated at this point. And he also has a high skill cap, so I see why people don't rate this guy high at all. But yeah, I think he's fine here. I'm not gonna put him above Omega, but I think he's better than Zamasu, honestly. Might be a hot take, once again. I know it's a hot take, honestly, but yeah, I love this guy. Ultra Super Vegito. First, I'm gonna put Trunks in S+. Below Gohan, honestly below Majin Vegeta. I think Majin Vegeta in this meta is more valuable than Trunks, but Trunks is crazy good, for sure. Double ultimate, blast armor, all that stuff. He's great. Yeah, I think he's above Cell. Ultra Super Vegito, Z tier, easily. And obviously Broly just came out his purple, so Vegito gains some value. Above Super Saiyan 3, above MUI. Above the androids, I don't care. I don't care. I think he's above the androids. Okay. But Pio. You know what? I'm gonna do this. It hurts me because individually this guy is so much better than the androids. I don't care. He's so much better than the androids individually. Okay, not so much, but he's better than the androids, in my opinion, easily. Yeah, I think I'm gonna do this. Cooler, I think Cooler is number one. Right now, I think Cooler is still number one. His team just got another buff. Both of his teams. PO, obviously LOE is there as well, but PO got a buff. Movies got a buff. Super Saiyans are everywhere, and the best units pretty much are Super Saiyans still. Like Ultra Gogeta, Super Vegito. Like, those are pretty much still top 5 units. And Cooler just completely counters them. Yeah, Cooler is number one. I don't think I have to talk too much about this guy. He's ridiculous. So yeah, he's just number one. And we have Broly. Broly is Z tier. So, in case you haven't watched my Broly versus Gohan video, I actually said that Gohan, I think, on movies specifically, is probably more valuable than Broly. Even if it's 14 versus 14, I can see the argument that Gohan is just more valuable on movies and makes the movies team better. But I also said that individually Broly is definitely better than Gohan. And in the future, when we get a very strong anti-revival unit, Broly is gonna easily replace Gohan on movies. And once again, individually is better. He also has PO. And yeah, I think Broly is great. I think he's great. So I'm gonna put above Gohan. Although once again, I can see the argument for Gohan on movies. But like overall, I think Broly is just the better unit. So above Dragon Fist. And honestly, that's pretty much it. I don't know if I want to put him above MUI. Unfortunately, my Broly is only 5 stars. That sucks, because I would love to test him out higher stars. I just got shafted so hard that I just couldn't pull him another time. I'm like 50, 60k deep and I can't pull this unit. So unfortunately, I don't know how good he is at 14, but I can see this probably, but I don't know if I would go any further than this. I think top 5 is the best I can give him. Maybe if I had him at 14 and I was using him a lot, maybe my opinion would change, but like even at that point, like I wouldn't put him above Ultra Vegito. I'm pretty certain I wouldn't put him above Ultra Super Vegito. I think this is fine. MUI or Ultra Broly? That's the question. I'm gonna put MUI above Broly for now. Yeah, I think that's fine. Once again, I can see this. Top 5, but I definitely wouldn't put him above Vegito androids. Like, I don't think so. Maybe at 14, he could be higher, but like, I don't know, like, is he better than Ultra Super Vegito? I mean, I can see the argument that he's better than. Obviously, Vegito is done here. Because cooler. I can see the argument that Broly is better than the androids. Individually. But yeah, like, I think this is fine, and honestly, once again, I think MUI is probably still better. I like MUI more. And once again, unfortunately, my Broly is only 5 stars. Obviously, this is my tier list, like, it is what it is, I can't do anything about it. My Broly is 5 stars, but yeah, he's good. He's definitely good. He's definitely Z tier. He's arguably top 5. At 40, maybe he's arguably top 3, top 4. But yeah, I think this is fine for him. MUI, I think MUI is probably above Broly. I mean, Broly has movies and PO, and those are probably the top 2 teams in the game. Just because of that, I'm gonna move him above MUI. Because of his teams. Because PO and movies, I mean, top 2 teams in the game, pretty much. MUI obviously still has Saiyans, some family, but like, yeah, like PO and movies, best teams in the game. So yeah, I think Broly. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna go with this. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with this. Okay, so this is my tier list. So Z tier we have Cooler, Gogeta, Androids, Vegito, Broly, MUI, and LF Super Saiyan 3. S plus, Gohan. Super Saiyan 3 maybe could go down to S plus, but I think he's actually fine here. I gave you the reasoning why I think he's this high. If the only argument you have is that he's squishy, I think that's just not a good argument. Cooler is squishy as well. I think that's not a good argument at all. Majin Vegeta, yes. Trunks, Sal. Yeah. Kaioken could probably go down to S if you really don't like him for some reason. Yeah, I think this is fine. You can definitely make some arguments for some units, but overall I think this is fine. Yeah, I don't really have anything. I don't really have a problem with this. Obviously, this is my tier list. Makes sense, but I don't really see anything that's like, oh my god. Oh my god, what is this? I think probably the biggest thing is like Kaioken. A lot of people don't think he's this high. Maybe Super Saiyan 3, I don't really understand where the hate comes from. This unit I think is absolutely fantastic. Movies is the best team in the game, so it's like, I don't understand really. Yeah, I think this tier list is fine. But I can definitely see some arguments here and there, and I can definitely agree if you move up certain units or you move down certain units. So yeah, let me know what you guys think about my tier list. Let me know why I'm absolutely dumb, why I don't know what I'm talking about. If you like the tier list, like the video, I guess, and hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching.